Whenever a video game is being released, developers will do everything in their power to get all the content they want to put in said game in time for its release, to make it good and worth the time of the players, as well as include content that the players will enjoy as well. This means having good gameplay with great mechanics to not only let the players have fun with the game, but also make it great to have good replay value as well, to have people playing it after a long time has passed since the game first released. Also, what's needed is a great amount of content for the players to enjoy with some extras and whatnot, and an enjoyable climactic story so the players will be invested throughout the game, as well as to make the game memorable for many years afterwards. And of course, most of the time, the developers always win over this, making great games in the end that ended up being worth the wait, giving us the players a fantastic experience, and the company giving the team enough time to polish and make an absolutely great product, and making us, the consumers, proud to give them our money and play the game that they worked hard to deliver for us. But then there's companies like Sega, and then you just start to question everything. Sonic Frontiers is nearly a year old. Jeez, I swear everything is going by faster the older I get. Why is this happening? And in that time, we've had DLC updates for the game be released throughout the year. These updates pretty much improve upon the game and make it overall better, by adding more quality of life fixes, and also even changing things with the game as well. And now, we've recently hit the third and final update of the game. And the game is now what some would call complete. This update is a very mixed bag to some people, some loving it and others hating it. But before we jump into what I personally think, I want to take a look back at the previous updates and just go through them all, and just see if Frontiers is now better than it was when it released a year ago, or if it's gotten worse. A little trip down memory lane, if you will. So, without further ado, let's get started back to where it all began. It's November of 2022. Sonic Frontiers had officially released, and God of War Ragnarok will be out the next day. Our next mainline Sonic game was here for the first time in 5 years, with the last game being Sonic Forces, and we all know how that turned out. It was mid. When Frontiers first released last year, critics said it was good, but we fans really enjoyed it. A good chunk of Sonic fans loved this game, myself included, and its stated release last year, it was a good game. Not a perfect game, but a good Sonic game. And that was something we Sonic fans have been wanting to say for a long time. The last 3D Sonic game we can walk around and say is good was Sonic Generations, and that was released in 2011. And if you know simple math, you know that that's more than 2 years. So finally, after so long, we had ourselves a good Sonic game with a good story and amazing writing. Also, good gameplay that requires you to, well, play the game. Going from this to this was a massive improvement from Sonic Team, and after getting such a massive step up in this series, it caused us fans to restore our faith in them again, and it also gave us hope for the future of the franchise being the next Sonic game to come in who knows how many years from then. However, as good as Frontiers was, it did have its problems. Some of those problems being that Sonic's gameplay, while good, did lack some polish. Other things too, like momentum, as well as being able to carry your boost within a jump, and other gameplay elements too with Sonic. But it wasn't just Sonic's gameplay, there were other issues too. One massive issue, well, besides cyberspace being mid beyond all that is the Ancients, and that is the final moments of the game being the classic case with Sonic games from Sega, and that is, say it with me, it was rushed. Yes, as good as Frontier's story was, towards the end of the game at Ray Island, things start to get kind of confusing, and you could just tell the way things play out, you could tell it was rushed and all very last minute. And this really left us fans confused as to why. We waited 5 years for this game just to have a rushed ending story? Why is that? But we knew the answer. It was obvious. Sega had rushed this out to get it by the holiday season. And just to think, this is supposed to come out in 2021. Jeez, imagine if it was released then. But at the end of the day, we had ourselves a decent Sonic game for the first time in a very long time that just really needed more time in the oven. And if it did get that more time, it would have truly been something amazing. If only the game could just get some fixes to it, and stuff to give it that better experience, and I wasn't expecting this so soon. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, a few weeks after Frontiers released, towards the end of November, Sega officially announced a Sonic Frontiers content roadmap for 2023. Basically saying that not only was Sonic Frontiers getting more DLC, also adding more content to the game, but the fact that we'd be getting all this throughout the year. And to top it off, it was all free. Yes, it was all free. Not $1 or penny was being charged. Overall, we were really excited and really intrigued about this. Now all we had to do was wait and flash forward to March of 2023, and we get the first update to Sonic Frontiers, and
It was good.
The first update to Frontiers wasn't bad or anything, but it wasn't really groundbreaking either. Sure, it was exciting, but this update was more of a quality of life update, really. That's pretty much how I can best describe this update. A good quality of life update, really just giving Frontiers more polish if it had more time in the oven to give it extra features, more or less. This update gave us a good amount of content, the first of which being the jukebox, to where you can collect music notes scattered throughout the island and listen to past music tracks of Sonic music throughout the Starfall Islands. These tracks were really well picked. Most of these are perfectly matched to where you would find them, like with Misty Lake on Rhea Island in this one spot, Let the Speed Mended on Ares, and so many more great examples. Although one thing I have with the jukebox, and I mentioned this in my 5 needs for Frontiers Update 3 video, and that is letting us have the ability to listen to the jukebox even in boss fights and even cyberspace. I get that the music from the Titans is epic and whatnot, but at the same time, I do want to fight Giganto in the Wonderworld. Another thing in this update is the inclusion of photo mode. This really should have been in the game since its release. Don't get me wrong, as cool as this feature is, this is just something that really should have been in there in the game since day one. But hey, it's here now, and it's not too bad. I've gotten some pretty cool shots of these while playing. And of course, there was one last major add to Update 1, and that was cyberspace challenges and the boss rush. Now, the cyberspace challenges, I didn't even bother touching them because I honestly don't care for cyberspace. And then there's battle rush, pretty much with this being a boss rush for the game. Pretty much where you fight through many enemies throughout the Starfall Islands of the varieties on those islands specifically. It's a pretty cool boss rush in the game, but to be honest, I've played through it once and haven't really bothered with the other ones, not gonna lie. I'm not sure what it is about it, it's not bad, but I don't feel really bothered to play the others. I don't know, take my word for what you will, but don't let it affect how you feel about it. And the cherry on top for Update 1 was Extreme Mode, to where Sonic is now a one-shot and is dead. And Sonic's stats cannot be upgraded at all, and this really hits the title. It is extreme. And that is just about it with Update 1. It didn't really add anything groundbreaking. The only thing that was really a big highlight of Update 1 was the jukebox and the photo mode. Overall, this update was great. So after Update 1 was released, we were suddenly seeing stuff in the files from Update 1, something we thought we'd never see ever again. Enter June of 2023. It's Sonic's birthday, and we get the release of Sonic Frontiers Update 2. This one being a massive step up from the last update. The first one was more of a quality of life update that made the game seem like it had more polish to it like it should have at released. But with Update 2, we got quite a bit more here. This update being Sonic's Birthday Bash, with the most obvious thing about this update having the fact that it's celebrating Sonic's birthday. And the island is covered in a theme of celebrating Sonic's birthday, and it's really cool. I like the decorations that they got going on here. So cool, my PC couldn't even handle it.
Oh, I got 2 friends here, let's go!
And even Sonic himself got a little birthday outfit thing going on here. While this update was mainly focused on Sonic's birthday, we also got other things as well, like the new action challenges in the open zones, with these challenges to where you literally have to make a stage out of the open zone. And it's really fun. And these action challenges will be quite a memorable inclusion, but for a different reason. And the reason why is, well, so we're in the good timeline now, right? That's right, once you complete the missions, you can unlock the Spin Dash, but it comes at a price. In order to unlock the said Spin Dash, you have to S-rank every single one of these action challenges. And remember when I said these will be memorable? Yeah, that's why. If you want an easy guide to beat these, just turn it to easy mode and save yourself a lot of time. Swallow that gamer pride, boys. Trust me, it's just a game at the end of the day. Once you finish all the challenges and get the S-rank, you unlock the Spin Dash. And it's actually really good. This Spin Dash is really great. With this, I've had more fun with the game after unlocking it. There's been so many times where I'll get lost with all the possibilities with this thing. Like literally launching yourself across the area you're in. This is so much fun and really was, well, game-changing for Sonic Frontiers. This inclusion is truly what the game needed for more fun to be had with it. Platforming in the open zones are now looked at differently, and even cyberspace now too. It really changes a lot here. I finally got to S-rank 1-2 after nearly a year. That's how much this Spin Dash has improved Sonic Frontiers. Overall, the Spin Dash inclusion was awesome and really shows that Sonic Team can make a great Sonic game, well, fun again. But you know what was the real game changer here? Besides the other quality of life changes like the dramatic camera shots and the combat being toggleable off and on now, but it was something that changed Sonic Frontiers forever. The new Koco momentum. This update not only included the Spun Dash with what I wrote Spun Dash. This update not only included the spin dash, but now the ability to carry momentum with the jump. This alone makes this update far better than the last by a lot. This is something that was massively called out on when the game first launched in 2022, but now it's here and we properly have momentum in a Sonic game. Sure, it's not like Sonic Adventure momentum, but this is still good. It's awesome and made platforming more fun, especially when you're running and you can carry a jump with momentum. And with all this stuff put in Update 2, all we could do now is wait for the one and only Update 3. And a few game trailers and a music release later, bam! Sonic Frontiers: The Final Horizon is finally here. And where to begin? First of all, for this update, let's get into what we got. This update, we got a new story and playable characters with their own skill trees. But not only that, remixed cyberspace stages and new platforming challenges as well. And not to mention, many changes were to be coming to the finale of the game. Because if you know Sonic Frontiers ending, it was very rushed out the door, pretty lackluster, and just overall anticlimactic because, well, it was rushed. And we were told that this update would change all of that. On top of that, giving us playable characters for the first time in 17 years. 17 years! So now that it's here, where to begin? Well, first off, let's start with one of the biggest highlights of this update, that being the playable characters. The playable characters in Sonic Frontiers are interesting, to say the least. They're not bad, but there are flaws. First character we'll talk about first is Amy. Honestly, she's one of the best characters in the game. Her gameplay is so much fun, and a lot of her combat moves are really creative for what they did. She used her tarot cards in her moveset now, and a lot of people seem to be upset about this, but I can kind of see why. It seems like that Sonic Team is trying to change up Amy's character to be more focused around these cards, much like her classic counterpart was. While I can get the idea, I can see why people aren't a fan of it. Me though, I'm kind of mixed on it. I'm okay with it, but I'm not. Take that for what you will. But aside from that, I really like Amy's gameplay. She's got a lot of cool moves for her combat, and she plays and controls very nicely. She can even ride her hammer like a motorcycle with her cards. That is so cool. Very creative, Sonic Team. Really creative. Overall, I can say without a doubt, a character I was the most concerned for turned out to be one of the best. This guy, on the other hand, I don't know how it's possible, but Knuckles might be the worst playable character in this update. And I find it ironic because I think this is the character a lot of people were really excited for. So something with Knuckles right off the bat when you first start playing with him, he forgot how to punch! So with Knuckles, what is the first thing you want to test out with? The gliding, right? Well, once you get the ability to test it out... Sonic Team, why is Knuckles praising to the heavens above whenever he starts to glide? What is this? I don't understand why they thought this was a good idea to give this long startup animation. And according to what was found in Update 2, this was not an issue at all. So why the change? In past games, Knuckles would just start to glide when you want to, and you wouldn't have like this dumb startup animation. This is something that's really annoyed me and the whole Sonic community whenever I started playing with him. And to continue talking about Knuckles, his glide. I don't know how we're talking about the gliding again. When it comes to Knuckles' glide, it seems alright at first. After the annoying build-up animation, he starts to glide, and it looks alright at first. But then, you want to turn. He turns so slowly, and having to turn all the way around is tedious itself. I honestly don't understand how that was so messed up. Sonic Team, don't ever do this again. Next game, if there's playable characters, just do Knuckles' glide like it always has been. Heck, I'd rather take 06's glide than this. Other than that, I really didn't have too many problems with Knuckles. These problems right here with these animations are just a big issue with me. Please, Sonic Team, don't do these startup animations anymore, please, alright? Just keep it simple sometimes. I get the extra attention to details you can do, but sometimes it just seems a little unnecessary, alright? But overall, Knuckles in Frontiers, it's not the worst thing in the world. There are worse interpretations of Knuckles being playable in Sonic games, but I think that the problems I have here and with him can easily be fixed in future titles. But he is still somewhat fun to play with, and I've had fun with him throughout the island, even in his platforming challenges. They were a lot of fun, especially the one where we had to climb up the wall. I really like that one. Now we move on to Tails, and this one I see the most hate for, but for me, it's actually the opposite. I had so much fun with Tails in this update. Tails is packing an ungodly amount of wrenches nowadays. Gone to the dummy ring bombs, boys. He's got wrenches now. Tails in Frontiers is so much fun. He's got pretty cool moves, and okay, let's not beat around the bush here. The freaking Cyclone is back. This is the coolest thing ever. Sure, it's OP, but so what? It's cool, and I like that it's here. Sonic Team, I love you for this. But not this. Okay, Sonic Team, let's talk. So why is it that for these two characters, their stomps are perfectly normal and fast, but for these two, they take forever to start up? This is just something that is kind of unnecessary, but you can easily fix that by not doing it in the next game. Just have their stomps not have a startup animation, please. Because trust me, nobody wants that. Overall, the playable characters in Sonic Frontiers Update 3 are really cool. I love having these characters back after so long, and I really hope Sonic Team continues to allow us to play as other characters in future titles. For a test that this is, that Kishimoto said he wanted to test test this out, it's not all that bad, and I could see this very much being improved upon by a lot in future titles. Overall, playable characters are fun and they have their flaws, but it's not bad for a start for them. Alright, what's next? Oh no! So after you do platforming challenges to get to the Chaos Emeralds with the other characters, you then go back to Sonic to where you have to climb to the top of towers. Again. And these towers, gee whiz, are these things crazy ridiculously hard, to the point where I was just about ready to throw my controller through the screen. But at the same time, I kinda had fun with them too. The thing I liked about them is how it was required skill in order to make it up these things. But what I don't like was the massive difficulty spike in these. Stop, stop, stop. I see you already typing in the comments, commenter. You saying that it's a skill issue? No. It's not. But not all of them suffer from it. One of my favorite towers are the one you have to climb up the walls and then attack these like little walls that are not allowing you to climb them, and then you have to continue climbing. I really like that one. And also one where you have to avoid all these machines shooting at you. I really like these two. And the rest, they can all go burn for all I care. Once you make it to the top of the towers, you have to complete a trial on each one of them. Oh no, the trial wasn't getting up there. The real trial starts now. The getting up there part, that was the trial of patience. Now these trials of the top of the towers have really sparked a lot of controversy in the Sonic community.
See, here's the thing. On one hand, you got people that say these trials are easy peasy lemon squeezy, but then you got the others who say,
But it does not get better as the trials were inconsistent.
The balancing in this update is all over the place, and I'm fully convinced that no one playtested this besides Kishimoto, because most anybody could tell you that this needed some work.
And this is so unbalanced that I genuinely believe that there is no way they could have extensively playtested this.
yeah, these trials are very unbalanced.
The first one was pretty standard. Basic enemies are sped up and beat them in a certain amount of time. But then there's a second one where the enemies are also sped up as well, but it's enemies that require a certain amount of time, but you have to beat them in a certain amount of time, and it's really impossible. In fact, if it wasn't for Pi Studios, shout out to my homie, if it wasn't for this video, I would have been completely lost. And what's more is that I was chatting with other creators about this. So many of them had no idea on how to beat this stupid second trial. It wasn't until a fellow creator, Matt Has No Cuts, also shout out to my boy, he found a way to beat these easily. And after he showed us, this trial became super easy. But I don't think this was the intentional way for us to beat it. We have to just spam parry, then attack, and rinse and repeat. Other than that, these 4 trials aren't too bad, just very unbalanced.
So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let us go ahead and move on to the... Oh, wait, you're saying I missed another tower trial? What could you possibly mean by that? Surely there isn't like one more tower or something that I missed, right? Because...
You wanna know why this video took so long to come out? This guy is why. So after you do the very unbalanced 4 trials and make your way up to the final tower with that awful Butchered Oranos Island remix, you meet Master King Koco, the face all of us Sonic fans will never forget. So you remember how some people just complain about there being no difficulty in Sonic Frontiers? Yeah, you guys just pushed Kishimoto to insanity here. You hope you're happy. With this trial, you have to fight all the Titans in one go. However, there is a massive catch to this. That being you can't replenish your rings whatsoever, as well as there's an actual parry now apparently. So good luck to you all you doing this trial. I don't know how many times I've done this trial. I think I spent an entire day on it. This is so ridiculously hard. A good strategy yet again from Matt Has No Cuts, and even pointed this out in his video that he posted about the update with this trial, and that is attack, stomp, and dodge, rinse and repeat. Another thing I recommend for this, and that is yet again, swallow that gamer pride and just turn it to easy mode. That way your parry lasts a little bit longer. Also Metallica. Yes, that'll also get you through it, trust me. So after powering through who knows how long on this, and the power of Metallica's Injustice for All, I finally finished the trial, and then it was time for the final showdown. Hang on a second, Mr. Khan, you're asking. What about the new remix cyberspace levels? Well, to be honest, I didn't really even bother touching them. Yeah, during my time with this update, I tried out one of the cyberspace levels, but then once I fell off the level, I just went back and started playing the rest of the story again. And to be perfectly honest, I completely forgot about them, and didn't remember to go back to them. So, I'm gonna hand it off to another creator that made a video recently as of writing for this video that perfectly goes well into the cyberspace levels, that being GWA's video on the new cyberspace levels. I highly recommend checking that video out on this topic, and I'll have that linked in the description for you to watch. But don't click away just yet. We still have one more thing to talk about, that being the end. Literally. But before we get to the final showdown, let me recap the plot of the Final Horizon for you guys. So at the start, this obviously takes place right after the hand-holding ritual that took place on Rhea Island. It starts with Sonic jumping onto Oranos Island and running to gather the Chaos Emeralds, but then Sage stops to tell us that he won't be able to do this alone. So then Sage retracts the Cyber Corruption stabilization from Sonic to allow Tails, Knuckles, and Amy to come back out of cyberspace. Sonic then says he needs their help to find the Chaos Emeralds, so then the group of friends split up. Fast forward through platforming challenges and plot and unbalanced trials, then Master King Koco unlocks hidden strength within and tells you not to go all out. Yes, this is relevant. After that, it's then time for the final showdown, and oh boy, do you really feel like it's time by the end of this. But this time around, it's all feeling more climactic. You really feel like you're at the final showdown this time, unlike last time. So after Sonic transforms, we then cut to the exact same boss fight. Honestly, I don't really care that they didn't mind changing Supreme, really. Now knowing what's to come next, honestly, I'm perfectly happy that they kept the boss the same, just as long as there's something even better next. So you all know how the Supreme boss fight goes. You beat it really fast. Then after you defeat Supreme, instead of Sonic saying,
"Is that it?"
instead, we cut to Sonic then looking down on Supreme, and then Supreme starts to look up, and then the end comes down to Earth. The end then takes over Supreme and gives a speech, and oh my gosh, you guys, when seeing the arms and stuff grow out of his back, I legit got flashbacks to Dark Gaia, I'm not gonna lie. Although not as graphic, it's still cool to see this kind of intimidation again in a Sonic game. And that's not even the beginning of what the folks at Sonic Team did. They made Supreme go from a Gigantorese skin with a gun to literally some freaky looking monster sort of thing. He's on all fours now like a beast and just looks crazy and, well, scary. A final showdown. Also, seems like Supreme really likes to headbang. Hey, me too, buddy. Rock music is amazing. So once Supreme, the end, once it transforms, it's time to face off. We then start to attack, but our attacks do nothing. But then... ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in 14 years, Sonic the Hedgehog has a brand new super form. Behold, Cyber Sonic. And this looks so cool. And now we have, wait a second guys, the combat is fixed! The perfect parry returns here, and honestly, it feels way more stable here. And this fight, oh my goodness everyone, this is awesome. Sonic is deflecting this and that. I made a gold tornado! Oh, the end is now chasing me. Oh, now holding his arms back from crushing me. Look at this, and the pose, oh my, what? And do you hear this music? And this fight is literally peak until I lost all my rings and then I died. 1 second. Okay, now that we're back in the fight, what do I do? So as awesome as the fight is, one little teeny tiny problem is that it doesn't tell you how to beat it. In order to figure it out how to beat this thing, I had to look it up. Been a while actually since I've had to do that with the game. Last time a game had me looking up how to beat it was God of War 2's final boss with Zeus. And that actually does leave you kind of hanging. Still a great boss though. But back to Frontier, so as it turns out to why I wasn't progressing in the boss, what you need to do is to silute the antenna tube thing that's connected from the moon to Supreme. Once you get that disconnected, attack his gun and silute that. Yet again, once the gun hits the ground, silute that, and then Eggman takes the gun. Then the end starts to shoot everywhere, and then Sage puts up a shield, but once she starts to struggle, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy come up to secure the shield. Then we're back to Sonic fighting the end. After you fight him some more, a massive energy ball starts to form, and you fight it. I fought this thing before, but that was when I lost all my rings, so believe me, when I saw this thing, I legit thought I did something wrong. I was going crazy. I thought I lost again when I knew I had plenty of rings. But when I saw this scene, I swear, my heart literally stopped for a second. No!
Why, you little...
That was probably the biggest scared moment I had while playing a video game. I swear I thought I was dead, but this cheeky little biscuit said, nah, I'm kidding, let's go. This moment was really cool. This little cutscene right here made me just say over and over again, Sonic is cool again. And after you fight him some more, we then proceed to, you know what, I'm not even gonna talk, I'm just gonna let you watch for yourself. Once you get past the literal epic moment of beating the literal life out of the Supreme Titan, Eggman then gets ready to launch us into space, and then Sonic states we're going all out. And oh my wow, Roger Craig Smith. This is probably one of the most hypest moments with him being Sonic ever. Now, this isn't like a Goku level of awesome power-up level screaming, but for a Sonic game, yeah, this is awesome. We're then launched into space, and we see an insane, fully Cyber Sonic here, and oh, it looks so good! We then shoot through the end, and that is that, as we hear the epic Kellen Quinn version of I'm Here finish out. Later on, we then fall back down to Earth and greet our friends, and Eggman and Sage go home together as father and daughter. Shut up! You're crying! And with that, everyone, that was Sonic Frontiers Update 3, The Final Horizon. This update was amazing. Sure, it has its issues like the trials being horribly unbalanced and the playable characters having issues that could easily be addressed and improved upon in the future. But other than that, in my opinion, that's all the flaws I really had with the game. Anything really minor, I could overlook with all the positives. At the end of the day, this update gave us what we wanted. A fixed ending and more climactic and finished feeling like one whole package of Sonic Frontiers. In fact, not just with this update, but all 3 updates that were released throughout the year. These updates were not only great additions to Frontiers to make it one big package, but it's what it needed for that extra polish. And Sonic Team, thank you so much for taking the time to make these updates for Sonic Frontiers and pretty much giving the game the final touches it needed if you guys just had more time. You did not have to do this. You could have just left Frontiers the way it was last year with the good reviews it got and worked on the next game, but you didn't. You took the time to make this game better for us fans and truly show you guys care and want to make good games for us fans now. Thank you, Sonic Team, for these updates, and thank you for truly giving us a great experience for us fans. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for Sonic Frontiers. This was the final update for it. Forever. The game is now done and Sonic Team is now moving on. They're going to be putting everything into the next game. It's crazy how much time has really flown by. All the videos I've made on Frontiers and how much my channel has revolved around it ever since 2021. And yet, here we are. We are now reached the final update and Sonic Frontiers has now reached its end. We have ourselves a good Sonic game now. No, not good. A great Sonic game here on our hands. Sonic is truly in an amazing spot, better than ever now. Truly now is an amazing time to be a Sonic fan. And as we look towards the future with games like Superstars, and who knows with what's next, as we say now goodbye to Frontiers, we can only look forward to what's next in the future. Sonic Frontiers, you truly are a great game and will absolutely be remembered in the Sonic community as time goes on. And as we go forward toward the future, you will never be forgotten, Sonic Frontiers.
Boost your spirit off the ground. I'm a spark that won't go out. We can go much higher now. Gravity can't hold us down. We're only at the beginning of this one way. Dream.